Scope was standing on the courtyard with a few other guards, since they had been told they'd been assigned to be a mentor to new royal guards, that is, joining the capital castle. But at first they weren't even being told exactly who they would be assigned to. But when it was time for Scope to be introduced to his trainee, and when he saw there was a young female mare Pegasus by the name Summer Sweet, he could tell right away that she was a very energetic, excited, and thrilled to be a guard at the castle. This is not the first time that he has been trained a guard before. He had trained at least 2 other guards before her, and so he is a real experienced trainee or mentor for others. But he knows that each new trainee will always bring some new challenges and all that. Some of his fellow guards had a trainee, but some of them may not have actually be able to join the Canton Castle, or either drop out for be a guard, or even being transferred to Crystal Empire. But he was much up for this challenge. When he first talked to her during the introduction, she was like, "Hello, my name is Summer Sweet, and I am so happy to be a guard. And I assumed you are being my mentor, Scope?" "That's right, I'm Scope." "So, how long would this training be, if I'm being asked?" "Oh, that's difficult to tell. Some they can be up to a year, 2 years." "That long?" "Sometimes it can take longer or shorter, to depend on how much you're putting yourself into the training, you know?" "Yeah. So, what will we do first?" "Well, today won't be any training at all." "Oh?" "Yeah, it's part of the tradition that we will be interacting more, just to get to know each other a bit better, and also showing around, not only castle, but also in town." Summer Sweet was really thrilled. He did show her around in the castle where to find some places. Afterwards, he took her into town to show her some places. And while they were just walking, "So, Summer Sweet, yeah? What was the thing that made you want to be a royal guard in the first place?" "Oh, it's actually a family tradition."
"Family tradition?"
"Yeah, you see, my family have been royal guards for about 10 generations."
10 generations? That's interesting. Don't you have any brothers or anything?"
"Actually, yeah, 2 brothers, one younger and one older."
Are they not the royal guards?
"No, they want to be something else. My older is a doctor, and my younger is a chef."
Wow, okay. And your parents was even, you know, a little bit upset that they wanted to continue the family tradition?
"Well, my parents were actually people were allowed them to choose what they wanted to be."
I see. So when you told them that you want to be a guard, they were thrilled?
"Well, actually, yeah. Well, both happy and thrilled, but also a bit surprising, since I'm actually the first mayor in our family line to be a royal guard."
I not surprised.
"Really?"
Oh, I mean, not to be judging anything, just you know, back then, but it's probably only stallions would have been allowed to be, a guard.
"True, but when I applied for the academy, I was actually thrilled being accepted in. I wasn't sure if I was, qualified to be, well, no, a candidate."
True. Even though my family had been a guard for at least a few generations, and even though there was either a guard or being something else.
"So, if you wouldn't have been a guard,
What else have you been choosing from? Not to be in a laughing matter, but I would have been more likely a doctor myself. Oh? Yeah, a few of my relatives are in fact either a doctor or even, well, architect. Oh, do you have any siblings? Yeah, a sister actually. She is, well, a few years younger than me, but she wanted to be something else. She wanted to be a teacher. I even asked her if she didn't want to have to be a guard, but she said no, she was not much in for that. And I even had asked my dad once before he passed away if he would have been upset if I didn't become a guard. But he said, if you don't want to be a guard, it's up to you, son. It's your choice. We can't force you to be doing anything that you don't want to be. So I actually became a guard. Oh, so did you even want to be a guard in other than something else? If you give a guess. Well, maybe a wonderbolt. A wonderbolt? That is some interesting idea suggestion. Yeah, I mean, I did watch a lot of Wonderbolt performance when I was young, but being part of the royal guard in the family for so many generations, it only speaks clearly that some point in the family would to continue. Well, I don't see nothing wrong with that. After that, they just walked around and eventually went back to the castle. For the next several weeks, he did have some intense training course for Summersweet. He really saw the passion in her eyes, her willingness to be pushing herself to the very limit in order to become a guard. Even though she did complete her training at academy, but beyond the training, or at least under the watchful eyes of a veteran at the guard, was also a better because she wasn't sure if she was going to be remaining in Canterlot or if she would be transferred to Crystal Empire or maybe something else. She wasn't even sure if she's going to be a guard or maybe, or if she could end up being transferred back to the academy and be a trainer there to teach the next generation of guards. But the bond between Scope and Summersweet, it actually became something unusual. Because not only because of her eagerness to be a guard, but not only that, but also her family line of so many generations of guards. He felt connected. He felt that she's unique. He felt so much happy. And one day when they were in the castle garden just sitting there, he did mention one thing that he hadn't even told most opponents that he trained with or that he worked with. Is there anything particular reason you wanted to be a guard? No, other than from the family tradition, but there is something else. Oh? Yeah. You see, even though this is not have nothing to do with me actually be a guard, but there is another thing about myself. When I was younger, when I was around maybe 20 years old, something like that. How old are you now? Oh, I'm 28. No kidding. Anyways, but when I was 20 years old, I was dating this mare and we were happy. And I was considering to proposing to her eventually. I even had to go to the ring and all, but what happened? Scope went silent for a moment. She cheated on me. Oh. Did you know the one that she cheated on you with? Unfortunately, yeah. Who? One of my close friends. Oh my goodness. Yeah, exactly. They turned out they had been cheating half of the time when I was dating her. which was 4 years. Wow. And you didn't even know this for 2 years? No, I was mostly busy with my training and during the for the guard and all that, and when I found out, I was devastated. I could not have believed that she was doing this for me for 2 years. And she didn't even show any form of remorse when I told her that when I found out about it. Wow, that must be hard. Tell me about it. After that, I decided to just quit romance and focus myself on my role guard duty. Even back then, my mentor told me maybe it's best to just put it aside for a while to focus on myself and my life and as a guard. And after I finished my guard training and all, and eventually become a veteran myself now and train a few others, I often wondered if I was ready to start dating or anything. But maybe I'm not even up to that. Don't say that. What do you mean? I mean, sure, what your experience was pretty bad, but you don't have to put yourself into this at all. Oh, did you experience anything like that? Well, maybe not cheating, but I was actually in love with this stallion for part about a year, and he, wait, did he do something to you? Well, kinda. He, he did take me to the park, or at least he told me to go to the park, and he told me in a note that he wanted me to go there and for meeting him because he wanted to tell me something. And did he go there? No, I went there, waited for almost an hour, but he didn't even show up. Let me guess. The next day, when you went back to school, that it wasn't just some sort of prank or something. Yeah, you're all spot on that. It was a prank. He had learned about my feelings for him somehow, and he he and his friends laughed when I walked in the classroom. I was like, what, 17 back then? Wow, that's pretty harsh. Maybe not harsh as I went through, but wow, we went through something bad to like, yeah, that's tough. So, ever since when that happened, I just couldn't stand myself. I just told him, you, you're an idiot. I was, well, I was blind of love, but I just told him that if you're like this, you will be miserable for the rest of your life. And the others in the class actually said, yeah, because they couldn't even believe, because they thought that he was a good stallion, you know? But when he did that, it was very low. Wow. So everyone in the class, except for him and his friends, just, well, were against him. Yeah, seems he had actually done that, well, once before. Just, wow. Yeah. That was one of the few things that they bonded most of, because they shared something dramatic in their past. But during these interactions, Scope started feeling not only of just a mentor trainee connection. Even though she was only a few years younger than him, he felt a deeper connection. And after almost a year of training her, he felt maybe that she was ready to be let her own. And he then took her to a restaurant to celebrate this. But it was something else. Because during that dinner, he said that he was in love with her. She smiled and said that she had a feeling about it, but she wanted him to tell her directly himself. He nodded and said that he would just wanted to wait for the right moment. Then she said that she wanted to be with him forever. Like, she wanted to date him. She was really outgoing and she didn't have hesitating to just simply ask him that. And that was one of the few things when he said, you know, you doesn't even have any problem to speak what's on your mind. Yep, that's me. Wow. That is one of the few things that actually made me to like you even more. But you know what? I wouldn't mind to be your boyfriend. She smiled and nodded and blushed, and from that moment they decided to be together. It didn't take long for the rest of the guards at the castle to notice their interactions, because they put two and two and eventually figure out they were dating. They were actually supportive. After there were a few of the veteran guards that knew about Scope's past, about his ex-girlfriends a few years ago to cheat on him. But eventually, he was healed by Summer Sweet herself. But there was just some things about her that he couldn't even tell at first when they first met. Because she was really outgoing, very energetic. But there was something about her that made him thinking. There was something about her that I can't tell. But now I can tell, because she is a very lovely mare, and I love her more than anything. After 2 more years, Scope actually was planning to propose to her, but unfortunately that didn't happen since she was temporarily transferred from Canterlot to Crystal Empire. It was just for temporarily transferred. After about a couple of months, she was way back again in Canterlot. And when she did come back, then he proposed to her. And she said yes immediately. She wouldn't even hesitate. And one day when he went back home, since he wasn't originally from Canterlot but from Philadelphia, and when he was on the street, he then encountered someone that he never wanted to see ever again. His ex-girlfriend when he was younger. Scope! Had been a while. Oh. Yeah, it had been. He remembers that his ex was still living in Philadelphia. So, what have you been up to? Oh, you know, work, living as much as possible. I heard you became a royal guard. Yep, in Canterlot. So, what brings you here? Oh, I'm just here to visit my family. Oh, that's great. So, I wanted to talk to you about something. I know what I did in the past was unforgivable. But are you perhaps willing to give me a second chance? Absolutely not. Oh? But why? If you don't make it to be your information, but what you did was traumatizing to me. I couldn't even imagine myself to be with you. And if I had to admit, I'm actually glad that you did what you did. Wait, what? She said, almost a bit angry. But I had to say this. I was planning to propose to you back then, when I found out what you and my former friend did. That made her shocked. Wait, you were? Yeah. But after I found out, it was no way I would be with some pony like you. If you cheated on me for 2 years during that time, and even if we did get married, you probably would even start cheating on me with him or somebody else behind my back. And I cannot allow that. So yeah, no, there's no way any possibility for us to be together since I'm already engaged. What? You? Yeah. So please just leave me alone. Just find somebody else to be with, not be with me. And then he left without saying another word. He stayed in Philadelphia with his family after he told them about his engagement. They were all happy. And he knows that his dad would also been happy if he was still around. Even Summer Sweet and her family was really happy for them. They decided to have a wedding in Canterlot. They only invited Cole's family and friends. They were just so happy to finally have met their true love. If it wasn't for all this, he may have never found anyone any point like her. And after the wedding, they actually went to Las Pegasus for about a week. There they just had a great time, enjoying the rides, musical performance, having romantic dinners, just having a good time. After being married for about a year, Summer Sweet announced that she and Scope were expecting a first child within the next few months, a daughter. And they even had a Pegasus daughter. She was so beautiful. And after 2 more years, Scope actually announced that they were expecting the second child. And they had a unicorn son. Even though after about another 2 more years, they had a Pegasus daughter. They were just happy now to have 2 daughters and 1 son. Even after what Scope went through all those years ago when his ex cheated on him, he literally had almost given up on finding true love with anybody. And he was really heartbroken. But now, having Summer Sweet by his side, he doesn't regret that at all. Even Summer Sweet, when she was pranked by former crush back in high school, she couldn't even believe that that crush would pull that sort of prank against her like that. It was beyond any reasonable mind. She couldn't even believe that she liked someone like that. She felt ashamed. But after when she started being training under Scope's training, expertise and experience like that as a mentor, she started not only respected him as a mentor, but as a friend, but eventually as a partner. She didn't even believe at first that she would eventually fall in love with her own trainer, but she was happy to have fallen in love with Scope, and that he felt the same. Because as his feelings for her and as hers for him was equally responded. Because despite that he had their own bad past in a romance, they never let that stop them. They continued to work to improve themselves and eventually to meet their true love. More than anything in the whole world, this was what they wanted to do the most of all. And this is how Scope and Summer Sweet found a true love, got a big family together. The end.